It's a beautiful morning. Oh, New York Giant fans, we got a lot to talk about. I know we've talked about Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I know we've pontificated about that. I know we've talked about a lot of other things, but we really do need to talk about, does this even move the win needle? What is the Shane plan? Because it's not a difficult plan to figure out what's going on here in reference to signing these quarterbacks. It's not difficult. We got to talk about Jackson Dart's wonderful pro day. I have never seen a quarterback in recent memory gain so much love for doing nothing. You could say J.J. McCarthy you could say Jackson Dart's this year's J.J. McCarthy, but J.J. McCarthy won a national title. Jackson Dart couldn't beat Florida. Jackson Dart was given multiple chances to beat Florida and couldn't pull out the big game. But I have to hear about how his pro day was spectacular. Well, Jalen Milroe's pro day was also spectacular. At one point in time during the practices for Jalen Milroe's pro day, they moved it outside because he was hitting the roof of the dome. But everyone wants to just talk about Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, 19 touchdowns in 5 games, 10 in 8. I know you beat the mighty Furman in Northern Georgia and Duke and these other powerhouses. But just because if Jackson Dart would have came out last season, if he would have came out last year, he literally probably would have went 6th, 7th round. I don't think he would have went above Joe Milton. Just because there are limited options this year at the quarterback position, overreaching for a quarterback in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round with the likes of Jackson Dart is not it being him being the most talented. It's out of the lack of choices. Think about it. Jackson Dart probably would not have been drafted outside of the 5th, 6th, 7th round last year. But this year, there's talk about them fighting over him. Pittsburgh already said they're out. Pittsburgh's like, yeah, we're good. We're all right. But you have a contingent of Giant fans that are sitting there like, well, we gotta go get this Dart guy. We gotta go get Action Jackson because he spells his name with an X. I've heard some lunacy and some idiocy before, but it just takes the cake. This Jackson Dart thing takes the cake. It really does. And I love it because I said it with Jalen Milroe that you cannot live off the combine. You literally cannot live off the combine itself. Because the combine we've talked, how many times have we talked about it? I'm going to say good morning, everybody. How many times have we talked about it? That the combine is an orchestrated football ballet that you practice for weeks to make you look good, to accentuate things that you do well, to hopefully put to rest things that you allegedly don't see. But you really can't go off that. And I said the same thing with Jalen Milroe. I said, yes, Jalen Milroe has improved from the last game of the season to the combine to his pro day. But it doesn't mean I'm going to take him in the 2nd round. Think about this. Would you take Jack Start of Caleb Williams? Would you take him over Jaden Daniels? Would you take him over Drake May? Would you take him over Michael Penix? I'm saying no to those already. Would you take him over J.J. McCarthy? Probably not. At this point in time, would you take him over Bo Nix? No. And then you have the likes of Spencer Rattler, Jordan Travis, Joe Milton III, Devin Leary, Michael Pratt. If those guys all came out now, I would still have some misgivings for even thinking about taking Jackson Dart in any of those positions. It's one of those weird things. Like I said, lack of options does not mean that is your way to go. And somehow we froze. Everything's frozen. Hello? What the hell happened here? Let's see if I can't put in a new tab and bring me back up. Hello? Is that working now? Hold on. Did we hold on? Let's see if we refresh. We can hear you. Can you see me now? Can you see me? Can you see me now? Can you see me now? Can you see me now? I'm trying to see how far behind I am in the video here. Oh, there we go. All right, we're back. We had to restart the stream. We had to refresh the stream. I have no idea why we had to refresh the stream. Probably that just took everything off. Accidentally, we're having some internet issues here at the house, and I don't know why. But we're still live on Instagram. We're still live on that other streaming platform. You know what it was? Jackson Dart's team came over and decided that they didn't want us to talk about this anymore. It was, I love it. Greg right here says it was the Chat Sport computer hacker. Chat Sport computer hacker came in and destroyed everything. But here we go. Let's get to some of the checks. I don't want to get too far behind. Big Greg says, good morning, Tim. Stop front and hit that like button. Oh no, it did not. I don't know what that. Moet, hey Moet, we haven't seen Moet Olsen in a while. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, chat. Mark Stewart's in his house. Good morning, Tim. Cody's also in there saying good morning, Tim. James Steins, good morning, Tim. Hope your day is doing well. My day's doing all right. Let's go get Sanders at 3. I don't understand the love. I don't understand the hate for Sanders. I really don't. Sanders for 3 years almost, going back to what Jackson State was this jewel, was this gem, was the eye of everyone's father. Everyone thought Shedeur Sanders coming out. You were waiting for Shedeur Sanders to come out. And now all of a sudden the guy's a fucking bum. Now all of a sudden the guy takes too many sacks. Plays hero ball. What happened to the kid not that long ago? I mean, not too long ago, he was a gem. Everyone loved him. Now it's like he takes too many sacks, Tim. Okay, he holds onto the ball too long. I love the fact that he holds onto the ball too long as he's looking downfield. Who's texting me now? Why are people texting me? Let's see. I'd be quicker if my laptop wasn't being shit. Oh, we got a guest coming on shortly. But of course, I'll guess. But I don't understand the whole. Like I said, I don't understand now the Shedeur Sanders hate. If Shedeur Sanders is sitting there at 3 and the Giants pass on him and take Mason, first of all, you can't take Abdul Carter because he's still rehabbing his foot and his shoulder. Mason Graham makes no sense. You're not going to take. You probably ended up taking Travis Hunter, but you just gave $36 million to Slayton. And you just signed Adebo, and you drafted Tay Banks, and you brought in Drew Phillips, and he doesn't really fit in the system that you're running with Shane Bowen. And so if Shedeur Sanders is sitting there at 3, how do you literally pass that up? Oh, I will tell you how you pass him up. I'm going to tell you how. You sign both Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Why? Because now you are sitting there saying to your fan base, we don't need to draft a quarterback in the first round of 2025. No. We have a 10-time Pro Bowl potential Hall of Fame quarterback, 2 Super Bowls, 1 Super Bowl wing. We have a former number 1 overall pick who at one point in his career threw for over 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns. We're going to omit the 30 interceptions. So we don't need him. We don't need to take quarterback now because our quarterback room now is solidified. We have solidified the quarterback room with Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. What I don't really think it's any better than Daniel Jones and Drew Lock. I love the person. Hold on.
Stupid giant Twitter posts.
And we froze again. Why do we keep freezing? Why do we keep freezing? Why does it keep freezing? All right, can we at least hear me now? Are we at least getting? Can someone give me a breaking news? Are we at least getting some audio here? Do we have audio? Anyone? Bueller? If you're in the chat and you can hear me, just put up the big old thumbs up because we're trying. I don't know what's going on. All right, Greg, I don't know what's going on here. I think Chat Sports literally is trying to destroy the show. I think there's a gremlin in the situation in his house right now. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on here with this with this issue we're having here. It's got to be an issue with it's literally has to be an issue with operation orientation not working. I don't know. This has got to be an issue. This has got to be an issue with StreamYard or YardStream because I'm running my internet's running crazy. All right. How about now? All right. Can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me now? How about now? I think we got it. I think we, all right. Now you can hear me. I really do think it's the greetings. You can see. That helps any. How about now? Is that audio better now? That audio should have jacked up our audio. The audio is messed up. How about now? Looks like we're now running through the mic. All right, we're all good here. I'm going to bring in a guest before everything craps out again. It's Dominer from Arsenal Domination, coming all the way from the UK. Going to talk some Giant football. Going to talk about Jackson Dart. Can Dom, can you say something?
Do I have to start?
Yes, of course you have to. Of course you have to start. Bingo! Joe Rev says bingo was his name. Oh, much better. I don't know what's going on my computer today. I do think it's the ghost of Chet Sports Dom. I think they finally try to silence us because of the fact that we have decided that they are fucking idiots. Dom, you are a YouTuber.
Took you a while.
Dom, you're a YouTuber now.
Yeah.
Dom runs Arsenal Domination. All about the Arsenal football, because in Americas it's called soccer, also called a girl sport. But I didn't want to bring that up. I didn't want to bring that up. So you understand that sometimes people say shit and do shit and throw stuff out there that makes zero fucking sense. You understand that now. That you've always understood my plight, but now you are getting firsthand information where people are stupid. And you have content creators that just make shit up.
Yeah, or alternatively, they know what they're saying isn't fully true, but it attaches it through clickbait, right?
Exactly, and that's what Chat Sports is. And people are like, you always pick on them because you have a bigger audience than them. I don't know. I'm good, thank you. I'll put it right there. We're having difficulty problems today. I'm getting a second breakfast.
Oh, nice.
I know the first breakfast was really good. Now I'm getting homemade sourdough pancakes.
I mean, I believe my people call it 11s.
We're giving 11s. Oh, damn it. I don't know what to do now. Did you hear our stream the other day about you?
No, I didn't. No.
We gave you quite the compliment, or the compliments the other day.
I'm sensing sarcasm, but continue.
We gave you quite the compliments. And literally I said, I love your show, but I have no fucking clue what you're talking about because of your accent. And I literally sat there and go, throw it into wicked, into strip on the Bobby. But all right, let's talk Giant stuff. But go to Arsenal Domination if you want to learn about Arsenal soccer. I don't know if the season's still on Arsenal soccer because
it is, but it's pretty much over. We're playing it out. I think would be the fairest way of looking at it.
The best thing about Arsenal soccer was I had the chance to either watch that or the WNBA, and I turned the TV off completely. But let's talk about the Giants here. We got Don Juan, the Jester, says Big James. Everyone's saying it's much better. I thought the king of the almost sack you. He probably did. Jersey Shore Tommy is hacking your computer. Dom, we sign Jameis Winston. Then a few days later, we go up and we pick up the venerable, the admirable Russell Wilson to basically a 10-year guaranteed deal. He can reach 21 million, I think, if the Giants go 17-0. So there are clauses in his contract he's never going to reach. But does this move the needle on the Giants being any better than they were with Drew Lock and Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito?
Well, I think there's a more pertinent point here, isn't it? How did we invent a time machine and go back to 2015?
No. The stupid Twitter post. I didn't get to it because everything froze. There was a person that said, "Welcome to New York, Russell Wilson. We can't wait for you being this destructive force." And then I'm watching the video, and I'm like, "That's."
I'm assuming they mean in the locker room, right?
I'm looking at the video. Go, that's Will Wolfork.
Oh.
I was like, "This is his." I'm looking at it, going, "This is his rookie season." But Giant fans are posting his rookie season as if it's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Not the fact that he's 36 years old and he got put in his place at one point in time by the Giants 4 years ago and hasn't been the same since like 2017. But does it move the needle? I'll rephrase it this way. NFL sports, whatever, the NFL bet had the Giants at 3.5 wins, which I never understood because only the Giants could get a half win. Then all of a sudden they signed both these quarterbacks, and the needle moves to 3.5 wins. So, is it any better? Are we looking at anything being any better?
I mean, look, shall I find you the silver lining?
Of course, I like silver linings.
We're not paying Daniel Jones all that money anymore.
Well, actually, we have $22 million in the cap space for Daniel
Jones. I mean, we're still paying him some money, but we're not paying him the full amount, right?
No.
Look, is this an improvement? Probably marginally. I think
probably marginally. Probably, maybe.
We've gone from being the 31st best team out of 32 to maybe the 30th.
Well, no, we were already ranked 30th. The power rankings for the NFL came out. Carolina was 32nd. Cleveland was 31st. We were 30th.
Yeah, but if you go back a year, right, we were the 31st team. We're now the 30th team, I think. But you get the point, right? Regardless whether we're 30th or 31st, it doesn't massively move it. All this is a bridge quarterback at best, who is not the same as he was, and in Jameis Winston, a backup that likes licking his fingers. Although on the plus side, we might get extra sponsorship from KFC chicken. They are things, but it's not radically improved. I think it is marginally improved. This is not a quarterback room that is going to go and win you championships unless every single thing could possibly go right can go right. I.e., you're going to have the luckiest season known to man to win something. And and the reality is, if the Giants, if they are to get back to winning ways, almost have to rip it down and start again. And that means bringing in young guys to improve over time and move forward with some veterans in there to help them, support them, to show them what the way is. Now, you could argue Russell Wilson is a veteran to show them how the way goes, but where's the young quarterback? Now, it comes through the draft, but do I have any confidence to come in the draft? No.
Jay Sports Cars got a great question. Draft, not question, no. Draft standards at 3. Wilson and Winston are not more than a 1-year Band-Aid.
I think that's right. If that happens, like if that's the plan, then fine. No problem. But I'm not 100% convinced that Cam Ward or Cam Ward's not falling to 3.
No, Cam Ward after Cam Ward's pro day, because we all know the pro day solidifies every position. Just look at Jackson Dart, because now he's going to be taken 3rd overall. We have another guest that's going to be popping on as well, but I'm going to bring him on in a second though. But I want to do you take Shedeur Sanders at 3 if he's sitting there after everything you've just done in the quarterback room?
I think I do. If I believe, look, if this back room believes in him, then I think you do that, right? Do I fully believe in him? No, I'm not sure I fully believe in any of the quarterbacks in this draft, to be honest. But you don't
believe in Shedeur Sanders?
No, not fully. I mean, that doesn't mean to say that he's not going to be a success, because sometimes a sure thing isn't, and sometimes a thing that no one expects to be turns out to be, right? But I mean, at 3, I think he's a risk in terms of ability, but in a 2 quarterback draft, when you need a quarterback, I'm not going to kill the Giants at all for pulling the trigger there. And if I was sitting at 3 and he falls to 3, I pull the trigger, despite the fact you bring in Wilson and Jameis, for the very simple reason that Jay Sports Guard has just said. It's a 1-year Band-Aid and you move on, right? And then you've got a long-term quarterback to work with. The Giants haven't had a good long-term quarterback.
Here's the issue though, and Jay Sports Car says we're now 28th. Here's the issue though, and this is why I think we signed Winston and Wilson, and why we're not going to go with the quarterback, because these 2 idiots in Shane and Dable need to win.
Yeah.
So you don't take a quarterback at 3 when you have 2 quarterbacks that your quarterback room went from Tommy DeVito and really nothing in the quarterback salary bucket to having about potentially $47 million in the salary cap bucket for the quarterback, with the $22 million in dead cap space for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I agree, by the way. It's why I said at the top, it's like, I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on anyone at 3, even if they fall. I don't think it will happen.
Do you think if Cam Ward fell, they would pass on him?
No, because they're idiots. I mean, they pass, right? But I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it did, I certainly wouldn't be complaining about it. I'm just not 100% sold.
I want to get to the super chat real quick. Then I want to get to the other guest I want to bring because you're going to love this guest. So far, the Rams are the best NFC offseason. They are Super Bowl bust without including a quarterback. How far are the Giants behind them? The Eagles and the Commies talent wise. Ooh, I think for the Rams, you dropped all that money on Stafford. It is Super Bowl or bust. The Giants are still eons behind and I know people are saying the Eagles need to retool now. They've lost all these guys. Eagles just fucking won a Super Bowl. They just beat the Giant in reference to the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Commies are just getting better and better. And then they make these trades, and then oh my God. And
you know what? Right? It's amazing it's amazing what happens.
And then I laugh because you watch the video of Dak Prescott. Like I said, I am not a Dak Prescott fan. I think Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. I think he gets a lot of shit. But they're saying that Dak Prescott, coming off the injury, is in the best shape of his life. And we all know if you have a training video out there and you look phenomenal, that means you're going to be good. Just look at Jackson Dart. I mean, look
at DJ. How many times does he look in the best shape of his life?
Best shape in his life. But yeah, I think for the Rams, it is Super Bowl or bust. I really do. The Giants are way far behind.
They are in the same hemisphere.
We're not. You're very good. Just like we're just not even the same hemisphere. I have to bring this person in right now because I'm starting to think that with his evil mind, that he's the one that actually was the one with caused all the issues this morning. We all know he killed Superman. I potentially think that he might have killed Batman. I don't know because I don't read comics, and I don't watch any of the movies. I saw Captain America, the first Avenger, for the first time a year ago. But we have to bring him in now. He's the one. He's the only. He's the venerable Lex OGR Luthor.
What's going on, Tim?
What's going on? It's old. Someone said to me the other day, "You don't have OGR on. You don't have Dom on. Where are these guys?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna have everyone on this weekend." I said, "You make a request, I bring everyone on board." Mr. Luthor.
Yeah.
How far are the Giants behind the rest of this division?
How far are they behind the rest of the NFL? Because I think they're the worst.
Well, no, we're going to start with the division.
Oh,
then we're going to talk Arsenal.
They're fourth. I could talk Arsenal, but there's not much to talk about.
I hate to disagree with you. I don't think we're fourth. I think we're fifth in the 14 division.
Oh, we're going back. We're going back to the 90s where there was 5 teams. Okay, then we're behind the Cardinals.
We are going back to when the St. Louis Cardinals were still in St. Louis and in the division.
Oh yeah, we're behind the Cardinals too.
Does the signing of Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston improve this team to any point beyond a 3.5-4 win team?
No, because of the schedule. If we had last year's schedule, okay, maybe you do marginally better. Maybe you get 1 or 2 more wins.
5 wins last year, right?
Yeah.
I thought we had 3 wins last year.
No, but if you had these 2, you would.
I was like, didn't we have 3 wins last year? I was like, I like this that we go back in time and we get more wins.
Well, we already went back in time with our quarterbacks we brought in this year,
I love this by Trenton Wright. Of course, he is a Eagle fan. Jalen Hurts was drafted 53, quarterback in the 2nd round. 100%. I agree. And Jalen Hurts, to me, coming out of college in that draft, I think his diminutive size was one of the issues why he was taken 53rd. I don't think it was because of lack of talent. I also think, wasn't Brian Dable his quarterback coach at one point in time? If you're a quarterback under Brian Dable, like Josh Allen, what do? You excel and win an MVP after he leaves. Jalen Hurts goes to 2 Super Bowls. But don't worry, Brian Dable's a quarterback guru.
I mean, let's face it. We can't evaluate the quarterback. I mean, what was it? People are saying last year that the yellow marking that they had on Joe Milton was position change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, And the thing is, it's so funny. You have a guy who's been in the league for a year, you know, at least started a game. Yes, against granted it was against Buffalo's practice squad. At least started a game.
That's being nice.
Experience, showed some stuff. Don't get me wrong. And you could actually spend less draft capital on Joe Milton this year than you would for Jackson Dart. But I guarantee we end up with Jackson Dart, and don't be surprised if it's at 3, because we don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks.
Oh, it better not be at 3. I genuinely my head would
I was
explode.
gonna ask Dom, because Dom, I should ask, are you going to be doing the draft stream this year?
If you would like me to, I'm all in.
Of course. OG, are you going to be on the draft stream this year?
I may pop in.
Okay. All right. So Dom, you always run the draft stream. And a little.
Well, someone's got to run the board. The Giants can't.
a little side note. I will be at the draft. So we will be. No, I will be at the Giants draft party.
I know that. I just feel bad.
I'll be at the Giants draft party. So someone's definitely gonna have to run the board again this year. I'm thinking of wearing my No Giants t-shirt. Well, I'm just gonna take Giants helmet, put a big no through it, put the Ghostbusters logo through it.
Just take a picture of me. I'm definitely not a Giant.
Yeah, no, we all know that. But the question is this, Dom: if we were very upset when Kadarius Toney was selected. I mean, I think it was Greg that said it was like almost and for those that don't know how big Dom is a giant. And I always love this photo because I tell people all the time, that wall on the sideline, there is literally like a foot from the ground, like a ledge. And people are like, well, Dom's not that short. No. Dom is standing on the ledge.
On the ledge.
Dom is on the ledge. Like we've said it before. Someone said it once before. I said, oh, your son is so cute. I was like, yeah, he's got that disease where he ages. So that's why he looks that way. But I mean, I asked the question in a video and I'm gonna ask both of you guys the same question. How big a surprise would it be? What would be a bigger surprise? Jackson Dart at 3 or Daniel Jones at 6?
Dart at 3, I think.
Dart at 3 because it's a higher pick.
Well, it's only 3 spaces.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 3rd overall. When you draft somebody 3rd overall, I mean, you expect instant impact.
Well, I think I'd expect that at 6, to be fair. But I think the reason for me, Dart is a bigger one, is I think Daniel Jones was probably going to get drafted at some point. Should he have been drafted in the first round? No.
That's like saying someone's going to die at some point. You know?
Yeah, but Jackson Dart.
Oh wait, we did when Jackson came for 6 years.
Yeah, I know. But Jackson Dart, I think in another draft he could possibly go undrafted, right? And that's what makes him a bigger surprise and bigger miss. I mean, he might not be a miss, you never know, but a bigger sort of no for me on the night if he was to be picked at 3.
I read the list earlier in the show of all the quarterbacks that were taken last year. And I said I would not take Jackson Dart over Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Hell, I wouldn't even take him over J.J. McCarthy. I wouldn't take him over Penix. I wouldn't take him over Bo Nix. Where do you think he would have fell last year? I said he probably would have been like a Joe Milton type and be taken in like the 6th or 7th round.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where you put him. You'd be lucky if he went undrafted. Seriously, that's probably why he didn't come out.
But he had this great pro day, OGR. Did you see his pro day?
Oh, everybody has a great.
The NFL version of the ballet was so beautiful with Jackson Dart.
Honestly, no, like being totally honest about it, like how many quarterbacks really have a bad pro day? Like, when's the last quarterback they're like, oh my God, he just failed on his pro day?
I thought about this and I could not, and I tried to go back and do a little research on it. I really could not find anyone that you thought to themselves, well, that was a terrible pro day.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to have a bad pro day. I mean, the only positional group that really, there's like quarterbacks usually always have a good pro day, but as far as like other positional groups, okay, if you run bad at the combine and then you run bad at your pro day, okay, maybe there's questions about your speed or something. But I mean, really, other than that, I mean, how many position groups really have a bad pro day where you're like, oh my God? I mean,
now some positional groups have had bad pro days. I've seen some wide receivers had bad pro days.
Yeah.
And I think Skyline is right. The only person I heard of that had a bad pro day was Tom Brady.
And how'd that turn out?
I don't know. He's 0-2 versus the Giants in Super Bowls, so it didn't turn out too well for that fucking bum.
How was Anthony Richardson's pro day a couple of years ago? I can't. It's a genuine question. I can't remember. But was he one that struggled a little bit? But maybe that was expectation rather than actual struggle.
That have been more of expectation, I think, than actual struggle. OGR. And I don't know what your thought process is on this, but Dom said he had questions about taking Shedeur Sanders at 3, but he's also an Arsenal fan, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. And he runs an Arsenal channel called Arsenal Domination.
They haven't done that.
I said that if you're sitting at 3 and Shedeur Sanders is there, I don't understand the hate all of a sudden on Shedeur Sanders. 3 years ago at Jackson State, he was going to be a gem. 2 years ago at Colorado, he took that step. Last year at Colorado, he had even a better season, but people's complaint will be, well, he takes too many sacks. I watched a video yesterday of him preparing for his pro day, which I believe is April 4th. And this guy, with no effort, from the 25, dropped a dime to like the other side, the other 20, with zero effort. And when I talked about Jackson Dart, one of the things I noticed about Jackson Dart is he's got this almost javelin thrower wind up on his deep ball, almost like he's got to step up and he's got to take 2-3 steps and throw up, then put everything behind his body to make a throw. I watched Shedeur Sanders make this throw, and this wasn't his pro day, but it was like no effort to make. And now that, of course, that doesn't. Joe Milton did the same thing. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good quarterback. But why is there so much hate now for Shedeur Sanders, even though he's done nothing, in my mind, but improve since 3 years ago?
I mean, it's a multitude of things. It's the Sanders name. People just don't like the fact that he's Deion Sanders' kid. They think that, he's been given these opportunities. They view it as him not earning it. That's one thing. I mean, as sad as I don't want to say this on the stream, I mean, there's a racial component to it too.
You could say that. We always talk about this.
Yeah.
That's one reason. And 2, I think a lot of people will sit there and go 0-11 against top 25 teams. And they'll look at that too. And I've watched him since Jackson State. The only knock I have against him is in the biggest games he had, even though he may complete a lot of passes, the team as a whole doesn't seem to win. Like Jackson State, undoubtedly in that bowl game 2 years ago, was the better team, and he just had one of his worst games at the worst opportune time.
You know what the funny thing is? Watch this. How many big games and how many championships did Peyton Manning win at Tennessee?
0.
And Tennessee is arguably, those Tennessee teams are arguably much better than these Colorado teams.
No, they
and what was the knock against Peyton for years? Until he finally got some playoff wins, was the fact that he couldn't win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep saying with people, and I'm not picking on what you're saying, but that's what I always tell people when they bring up that stat. It's like you've had so many other players always have this issue. Well, they can't win in the big game. Only out of 2 teams, only one of them wins in the big game.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying this too. You asked me for reasons why.
No. I'm just bringing up. It's called point counterpoint.
Yeah.
It's like a political show here.
There's also the fact
we're
as well.
We're going to talk about tariffs next because we're going to talk about some tariffs next.
There's also the point as well in the big game, right? If you can lose all the big games, but it's not always just about the one player, is it? It's about the team as well and what have you got around you. But I mean, Shedeur Sanders is obviously a very good player. For me, number 2 quarterback in the draft. He's got the throws and the athleticism. I worry a little bit about his processing speed, but maybe that will come. But as I say, I just don't think we're going to draft him anyway, as you say. But I can see why there would be a reservation of him at 3. Well, for me, there's a reservation at 3. But if you're sort of taking him at 7, 8, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. I know that sounds daft because it's 4 or 5 places lower, but that's that little bit less on the salary, etc., etc. It's just a feeling, really.
This isn't Seattle and Bo Callahan. We're not trying to save $7 million in the salary cap. Come on, James. I'm James.
Well, we can do.
You
we
look
could
just
do
like
this.
James, Dom. I don't want to bring that.
We
up.
could
You look
do-
just like James.
I'm identical. I'm his long lost brother.
Twins. It's scary. It's scary.
But we
no.
could do with the $7 million in salary cap, right? I mean, it's not going to hurt.
Well, it saves our salary caps, and I've read all the fan posts and blogs. The fans are at the gate. The barbarians are at the gate. Well, hopefully we can get some. Patrick says Jackson Dart doesn't have the arm strength to be an NFL starter. I don't think he's Chad Pennington in any regards, but I think that if you watch Jackson Dart throw, guys, I think his arm strength is average. I'm not wowed, and I wasn't wowed at the combine. And like I said, the throws that were choreographed at his pro day were more lent to what his abilities were. Did anyone else watch the pro day besides me? I should ask that question.
I mean, I watched. I'm not going to watch Jackson Dart's pro day because I don't think Jackson Dart's worth the pick, even in the second round. And I mean, I could see the Giants doing it. I think the Giants come away from this draft with a quarterback. It may not be the quarterback that we want, but I definitely think they have to come away from this draft as a quarterback. But maybe they won't. Maybe they'll surprise me because I think the entire time, and I think it's been obvious as time goes on, it's Travis Hunter.
Okay.
It's Travis Hunter, and because they visited Colorado so much. But if you consistently go to talk to Shedeur Sanders, you make it look like it's Shedeur Sanders, you're covering up the fact of who it was going to be the entire time.
I think it's great that you give the Giants credit for being smart. I think that's phenomenal because how many times did they go and watch a quarterback like 7 times over the last 4 years? They didn't draft any of them.
Yeah,
they were in love with J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy was not getting past the Giants. He was not going to he was not going to be 10th overall. Giants loved him, and there's so many other players. They spent so much time with Michael Penix. Oh, Michael Penix, we love Michael Penix. We love so much. They actually went and saw Malik Willis play 5 times. I've said it before with Joe Shane. I think in some ways, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, he's afraid to take a swing.
Yeah, I was just going to make that point. Gun shy.
Yeah, gun shy. I mean, he is afraid that if he put his stamp on Daniel Jones, which was a humongous fucking mistake. The moment that ink dried, I said this is going to set this franchise back 5 years. But that was his guy. And I'm worried that he's never drafted a quarterback since he's been here in 3 drafts. And now you're expecting him in year 4 after we just signed Winston and Wilson that he is good. Everyone's saying this. He's punting to 2026 with the anticipation that they are going to be bad enough to draft Archie Manning. Even though we don't know what Archie Manning is.
And we don't even know what Archie Manning is. And the reality is he's eligible to stay till 2027. And
he's not leaving.
First year starting in the SEC. To me, that's a 2-year journey.
Yeah. Well, every Manning has stayed 4 years in college.
That too.
Even Cooper.
Yeah.
So I mean, Cooper was wide receiver. Of course, he had the spinal stenosis, I think it was, with the neck injury. But I mean that seems to be some plan and thought process of Giant fans that we'll just wait for Arch.
You'll be waiting.
Well, I'm waiting to go to 6 foot. It's not going to happen, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, Archie Manning can come out when he wants, right? Because he's got the name, so therefore he can afford to wait in college because he's going to be a big name. He's going to get a lot of hype. Not literally regardless of how he plays in college, but there's going to be interest in him, right? But it's exactly.
Dom, you are the tallest man in the Shire.
That is true.
Okay, I gotta leave it that way. Gotta leave it that way.
Well, I obviously have a reservation about Shedeur Sanders. I have that about every player coming out, right? But if he is there at 3, you should be pulling that trigger for me. But we won't, and I agree with you, Ojar. It's going to be Travis Hunter, unless he's gone, at which point it'll be someone else. I cannot see us taking a quarterback.
Wait a minute. I want to bring this in from Dom's hard-hitting analyst, analyzing the Giant draft, because it's almost like he's Joe Shane. It's going to be Travis Hunter, unless someone else takes him, then it's going to be somebody else.
Well, but my point being,
that is a Joe Shaneism.
it is a Joe Shane.
That is a listen. We would have drafted Jaden Daniels, but he wasn't there, so we had to draft somebody else.
Yeah, but my point being that somebody else isn't going to be the quarterback, right? In theory, the quarterbacks go 1 and 2, and it will be Travis Hunter. But if that doesn't happen and Travis Hunter's gone, it's still not going to be the quarterback.
No, I agree. Here's my thing with Travis Hunter. I'm going to ask both of you guys this: you spent $54 million, 36 guaranteed on a Debo. You took Tay Banks the year prior. You took Drew Phillips last year. You have Wando Robinson. You have, of course, Malik Neighbors. You just gave $36 million to Darius Slayton. You have question marks at the quarterback position, no matter what everyone's going to say. And you take a look at the way this roster is constructed. And now listen, and everyone tells me, well, he'll just play both ways like in college. Okay, if you could do that so easily, yes, thank you, Tom. That's almost listening to an Arsenal fan. If you could do that so easily, a lot of players would do it. Where do you put him positionally? Because he excels and he has deficiencies at both positions. I saw a highlight film of him getting burned multiple times against speedy wide receivers. And I've also seen many drops and many issues of running out of bounds playing wide receiver. So where do you have an all-world talent? I'm not saying he's Isaiah Simmons, but where do you play him? Where is his strength going to be on this team when you've already signed a corner, drafted 2 corners, and you also have not a crowded wide receiver room, but you have Malik Neighbors, Wando Robinson, and you just gave $36 million to Darius Slayton. Anyone can answer.
I was going to wait for Dom, but
I was waiting for you. But I mean, you go first, and then I'll go. I have a thought.
For me, it's simple as this: Travis Hunter. If you're looking to win now, which the Giants clearly are willing to do, Travis Hunter is the guy that you bring in to be the most impactful player because he has the most potential out of anyone else you could take. Shador's not going to get really the start this year, so it has to be Travis Hunter at that point. And to me, you play him at CB, and then people will be like, "Well, you paid all this money to Paulson Debo." Well, I understand that, but in the frame mind, I'm getting feedback. I don't know if anybody else is.
No, I don't hear anything.
All right, okay.
Tom, do you hear anything?
No. But anyways. You paid all this money to Paulson Debo, but people have been asking the Giants for years to sit there and get depth by adding Travis Hunter. Now you're essentially getting an insurance policy. Do I agree with that? No, but that's the way I think Joe Shane is looking at it, and that's why the pick will be Travis Hunter at 3.
Do you have any concerns about his build?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
The same concerns that you had when the Philadelphia drafted what's-his-face, the wide receiver.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah. I mean, he has a very similar build to Devontae Smith. And Devontae has excelled, so maybe Travis will. I don't know.
Well, Devontae, I don't think has Devontae even had a 1,000-yard season yet?
He hasn't had a 1,000-yard season, but he's performed. But, I mean, you go look at it, too. They went out and got Brown there. So maybe.
Yeah, you got A.J. Brown. You got A.J. Brown sitting on the other side. My thing is this, and like I said, I worry about Shedeur Sanders' size. I worry about the fact that you are still running the Shane Bowen system. Shane Bowen's system is not predicated on the press cover corner. It's not predicated on a man-to-man guy. That's why poor safety play and the system is why Tay Banks struggled last year. And nobody really wants to talk about that because if you go back to his days in Tennessee, outside the 2 Jim Schwartz years, he never had a good secondary, Shane Bowen. And they outside of the safeties playing well because it's his bend not break zone style defense.
Well, is he willing to change? I mean, you're going
out in last year.
All press corners. Is he willing to change? Because if you're going to go do that, that's just horrible management on your part as a coach, as a GM. Are they even talking to their defensive coordinator? If they're going to go do this, he's got to be signing off on these moves. If he's not,
do we want to rehash Hard Knocks?
I know I don't want to.
Do you want to rehash Hard Knocks? Hey, Shane Bowen, it's your first meeting with the entire team. What do you need? 2 linebackers and a defensive tackle. What about Brian Burns?
I mean,
So what do you? So do you think he's listening to anyone, Joe Shane?
No, he's listening to his own. I mean, he won't even listen to his own son. Never mind.
Well, getting over to my son, Dom. Where
I think it goes the other way, actually. So
That's what she said.
So
sorry.
I actually think that if you bring in Hunter, and I suspect it will be, I think that he will actually play on offense, not defense, because I think it's an easier transition for him to play wide receiver and corner. I think corner is one of the harder positions to sort of come in the NFL and make an immediate impact, particularly in season one, and with both Shane and Dable on the hot seat in all likelihood. I think that they play him there, particularly as they have. Yes, they've invested at wide receiver, but not necessarily sort of big playing names, etc. there, and that's why I think that he comes in there because, as I say, I think it's an easier transition for him into the NFL.
How do you think? But if you move him, okay, listen, I'm going to tell people right now, and I've told people this on X or whatever the hell it's called, because it's now sold in somewhere else now, by the same company, but he still makes billions of dollars. I don't know how he does it, but but here's my thing, and I always bring this up. How do you think Malik Neighbors would feel at this time, potentially being either option 1A or option 1B? If you put Travis Hunter on the other side of the ball, you are probably taking targets away from number one on the other side of the field. We've already known he's not what we would refer to as a quiet sort, Malik Neighbors, in reference to not getting targets.
Not only Malik Neighbors. Why'd you pay Darius Slayton at that point?
36. I was getting there next. Why did you pay Darius Slayton $36 million?
Like, to me, Dom, you make total sense when you say it would be easier for him to transition to wide receiver than corner. But the reason why I say corner is you're hedging your bets against Paulson and Debo not being the same player. So even though you're kind of doing the same thing, at least you have a backup plan if Paulson and Debo does not excel.
I think it makes a lot of sense as well, right? From the corner, I just think they're going to go wide receiver because I just think that's what they're going to do for it. I really do.
Most of their big name moves have been defense, so they clearly think that their offense was good enough and that defense hindered them last year. And because they think they're getting a huge upgrade in Russell Wilson, that's why they really haven't invested a whole lot in the offense. They've gone all defensive moves because they see their defense as a problem.
No, they have signed a swing tackle who can't block or can't run block. I mean, I think his pass blocker rating was like 49. His run blocker rating was 30 something. They also brought in another guy whose run blocker rating was like 38, and his pass blocker rating was 36. I mean, so yeah, we don't say we didn't go offense. Like we have a full room of swing tackles
that can't block.
That cannot block.
At this point, you're better off putting a tight end out there.
Well, it's okay. Dane Bellinger. We still have Dane Bellinger, and we also have Theo Johnson. So our tight end room is full of shit. But I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I apologize. Dom,
I'm gonna give.
Why are you saying stuff like that?
I'm gonna give Theo a little time, even if you end up being right.
You're a Penn State guy. What was one of the biggest knocks about Theo Johnson in Penn State? Because I've heard it before. Because like I said, I got a lot of Penn State fans in the family. That he is maddening. He was maddening at Penn State for specific reasons.
I always thought Tyler Warren was a better prospect, and I think he should have gotten more thing. But Theo, for me, every once in a while, I've seen drops, but for me, I lack of effort sometimes.
That's what everyone says. Theo coming out of Penn State, all world talent, has all the ability. What they questioned was his mental toughness, his effort, and whether he really wanted to play. And that's what everyone that I've ever talked to in my family that talked about him said the same thing when the Giants drafted him. Because most of the people in my family are either Steelers or Eagle fans. But that's what they all said, that he's all world talent, but he's Nuke Lelouch.
It's a good job we don't make a habit of doing that, right?
No, it's a good thing we don't go out and get these guys that are all world talents, but $1 million arm and a 2-cent head.
I keep saying Travis Hunter, but as time goes on,
oh God, where are you going, Mason? Don't you dare say Mason Graham.
No. As time goes on, I can see Joe Shea drafting Abdul Carter at 3. I think the pick should be Travis Hunter. If you're not going to go quarterback, I think the pick should be Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter to me makes the most sense. I would not be shocked if he went Abdul Carter. I know a lot of Giants fans would be, but I won't.
Dom, you have Brian Burns. You have Kayvon Thibodeau. Where the hell do you play Abdul Carter? Well, first of all, you don't play him at all because he's still rehabbing his shoulder and his foot.
Do you know what though? I actually don't think OGR is insane here, but I could see the Giants.
I think he's insane.
Oh no, I'll tell you why I don't think he's insane. Because the Giants are stupid. Right? I mean, seriously, you said it earlier. What did Shane Bowen say he wanted last year? In
2 linebackers and a defensive tackle.
And what did he get?
What about Brian Burns?
So can you see history repeating itself? I mean, I genuinely can. OGR is right. It shouldn't be him. He's a good player. And you should always draft the best player available, right? But where the hell, as you say, where the hell does he play?
That's in OGR. That's the question. If I'm not saying first of all, I think Abdul Carter's got bust written all over him, and I'm sorry. And people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're so mean." I think he's got, I think the dude's got bust written all over him.
You're completely right. People are overreacting to one season where he had the best pass rush win rate in the entire NCAA.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean much.
Did they forget the first 2 seasons where he was an off the ball linebacker and was average to good at best?
Yeah, or unless they plan on, I'm knowing the Giants, they planning on transitioning back to off the ball linebacker.
That's what we got, Bob.
He's going to be the new cornerback.
You got your off the ball linebacker.
But you're a Penn State guy, OGR. You're a Penn State fan. Mm-hmm. If you and I know you're kind of half jokingly saying that they're going to draft him and not draft him. I'm probably not half jokingly saying, but if you do draft him, this is my big question though. And to Dom's point, where do you play him? He's not a linebacker.
No, he's going to be, he's an outside linebacker. He's a pass rusher.
Can he play special teams?
He might have to, but literally, can you see from what you've seen for 3 years of Abdul Carter at Penn State? Can you see him playing outside linebacker in the NFL paired with either the likes of Kayvon Thibodeau or Brian Burns on that defensive end position? Because if I am a offensive coordinator, I see that, I'm salivating. I already know I just run off tackle and I'm going to get at least 10 yards, against the Giants. But if I see Abdul Carter wearing he's not going to wear number 11 because he's retired, but wearing number whatever, and he's standing there.
That's not
we can retire.
We can retire.
That's a good point. That retired shit. We only gave Malik Neighbors the first number ever retired in Giant history. But wait a minute. Oh no, it was also the first number ever retired in NFL history. But don't worry, we'll just give it to Malik Neighbors.
He's called up Phil. Hey Phil, mind if I get that number 11?
Can I get that at number 11? Give it to Abdul Carter. But I mean, but it literally would make no sense.
It would make no sense. But you know what? Joe Shane's probably drawing off of Giants, lore, because we had the quarterback, so now he thinks he has the quarterback in Russell Wilson. So he's like, oh, well, I need pass rushers. Old Giants teams had Michael Strahan, OCU Manura, Justin Tuck, Matthias
Kiwanuka. We had Chris Canty at one point in time. We had all these...
and with Brian Burns, he's nearly there.
I drafted Abdul Carter.
Brian Burns
look at that trio.
Brian. Okay, one other name I want to throw out, and I've got to get to the chat because I've been ignoring the chat. One other name I want to throw out at 3 that I've heard that, dude, you don't fucking ruin the buildup. You don't ruin the buildup. Are you gonna behave?
Yes.
Okay. One other name that I keep hearing at 3, because we're just going to roll on with this like I hear shit, is Mason Graham. Now, everyone's saying that it would be the running mate to Dexter Lawrence. It'd be that guy that they need for Dexter Lawrence to be even more special. Even though I always say you need a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson, you need a guy like Ashawn Johnson, you need a guy that does the dirty work that frees up Dexter Lawrence to do what Dexter Lawrence does. Would Mason Graham, now, like I said, I think Mason Graham is going to be an excellent player in this league. I think he's going to be phenomenal. But again, like with Wan'Dale Robinson and Kadarius Toney, it's redundancy. In my mind, it's redundancy. That you're going to basically have similar guys in the same position doing the same thing in the middle of the field when the issue isn't the middle of the field, it's the outside. Because people don't sit there and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to run at Dexter Lawrence. We're going to run out the side for a reason. But would Mason Graham make any sense? Or I should rephrase that. Does Mason Graham make any more sense than Abdul Carter? And does it make any sense for the Giants just in general?
I'm going to give you 2 words. Positional value, and then
I thought I was going to say fuck off.
and then I'm gonna follow it up very quickly with, making sense and a Giants draft. I think that's a definition of an oxymoron.
But come on, we have to have a serious answer here. I need a
serious answer.
Serious answer. Mason Graham makes sense if you trade Dexter Lawrence.
I've said that, and I was told that I was fucking crazy. I've said that.
You're not crazy because by the time
there's your replacement.
He's going to be aging by the time you're ready to contend. If you're not going to go get your quarterback, so
no,
there are serious questions about how you build this roster. Right? Our good players are not going to be good players. They are going to be aging veterans by the time this roster gets good. So, is there a genuine case of Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas, being made available for trades and getting some draft capital, which, we can absolutely waste on, crap picks, I'm sure. But, but you can't draft this guy at 3. You could trade down and get him. But at 3, I think there's a positional value thing here, particularly when you've got Dexy there. But as you say, Ojar, you trade him, then that becomes a little bit more tenable.
Now, I said I'm going to get to the chat, but I got one other question before I get to the chat. I really do want to get to the chat.
And I'm going to have to go shortly as well.
Oh, shut up! You're going to answer this question. You're going to do what I tell you to do. Don't be like bossing around. This isn't Arsenal Domination. One of the best YouTube channels. If you want to follow the Arsenal, go to Arsenal Domination. It's very clever. It's Arsenal Domination. Just for those that didn't get it. You brought up.
Actually, have to explain that to my.
I know. I wasn't joking. Dom is finally figuring out, OGR, that there is a contingency of people on YouTube that are idiots. He finally's figuring that out, and he's learning it the hard way. But
in fairness, I knew it beforehand. I'm just having to deal with it.
Andrew Thomas, all-world talent, multiple injuries. And he's still young, and he's in the early part of his new contract. And now my question is this for both you guys. Andrew Thomas, I mean, how long do you hold on to this guy if these injuries continuously occur? And to Dom's point, he may be only 26 years old right now, but let's say the Giants aren't good in 3 years. Now, 30 is not old in the NFL, especially for an offensive lineman. But you are going to probably see a decline in quality of play because of the injuries. I don't care who goes first, but how long do you hold on to Andrew Thomas with the hopes that he stays healthy? Because he really has never stayed fully healthy. How long do you hold on to that hope that his contract price is going up? His play is kind of staying the same when the injuries are going up. How long do you hold on to this guy?
Oh, this is easy. 1 year for the new GM.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got so many people that want to join the show today. I will put
drop out because I can't stay much longer either. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. You two still here? I'm going to put the link in the chat because people keep texting me going, I want to come on. But Dom, Dom, you're not going yet. Same question. How long do you hold on to Andrew Thomas?
that depends on when you get the good offer, right? But I think you definitely give it one more year and then you see what offers are there, right? I mean, Joe Shane, this surely has to be his last year. I don't really want the trade capital in his hands. And I also think that Andrew Thomas being here this year makes some sense for that line, because it's win or bust for Shane. So they're not going to trade him or Dexter Lawrence this year either.
Right.
But I don't think you're ever going to hope he's going to stay fully healthy. He's had no history of staying healthy. So I think if you're waiting for that, you might as well wait, for magic to happen, right? It's not going to happen. So I think if you get the trade offer this year, you take it if it's a good one. But I think more likely it's a year or two time. But you only trade him for the right offer. You don't trade him for peanuts.
No, you never want to trade. But I'm gonna let you guys drop off because I do appreciate it, because I know Dom, you had stuff to do, and I know Joe, you had stuff to do as well.
It's Mother's Day here.
Oh, it's Mother's Day. Well, happy Mother's Day, Dom.
Well, my wife is enjoying it because I'm here.
I was gonna say your wife must be having a stellar Mother's Day at this point in time because she's nowhere near you.
She got up for work at 4 a.m. this morning, so she's having a great day.
Oh, jeez. Doesn't she know it's Mother's Day? And also, the clocks went ahead today in the UK.
Yep. So we lost an hour.
And I love it, though, because I look at Dom's face and I see something I've never seen in the UK. There's sunlight.
I know. I've had to draw the curtains.
I know. I see Donna's sun on Dom's head. I'm like, there's sunlight in the UK. What the fuck is that about?
No, that's a sniper. I'm about to be shot.
Oh, we do not abdicate shooting anyone on this show. I just want everyone to know that. We always have to have a disclaimer, Dom.
Yep, you just wonka people instead.
I just wonka people, but I do appreciate both you guys coming in and hanging out, talking New York Giants. I'm going to make sure I get to the chat in a moment, too, because I have been neglecting the chat since 10:39, so I got to make sure. Make sure you follow Arsenal Domination everywhere on YouTube. Greatest Arsenal show there is. I didn't know there was any other ones, but it's the greatest. Well, no, watch this. Gooner Gathering.
Yeah, my friend Lee, yeah.
And watch this. Arsenal Domination.
That's two.
That's all I got. That's
There's
it.
probably like Arsenal Nation out there, so you're good.
Arsenal Nation. Dom, you want to give me?
There's genuinely a chant that is called Up the Arse. It's like, guys, can you hear what you're saying?
We have another show called Up the Arse. Domination. All right, guys. I appreciate both of you coming on. Make sure you follow Dom. Make sure you say hi to OGR Sports. Like I said, you guys are going to both come back for the draft. So that'll be fun.
It's draft beer, right?
Draft beer, draft light. Just another day in Giant Land. All right, guys. Dom, thank you for coming on, my brother.
No.
Oh, Dom. Whoops. Sorry about that. You got cut off.
That's all right. I was just saying, good to see you, and I'll see you soon.
All right, I'll talk to you later, man. Tell everyone Happy Mother's Day for me.
See you later, guys.
See you later. Oh, that's always fun. We're going to have another couple guests coming in a second. I do have to get to the chat real quick. Let's see here. Patrick says Sanders is polished compared to Jackson Dart, which I agree. Let's see. Patrick says New York City is prime time for Sanders to be direct connect to. I think prime time would be perfect here. Fabian with the Super Chat says, guys, how many games you see Russell Wilson winning? I see Russell Wilson maybe winning. Looking at this team, I literally see him maybe winning. The Giants winning. I still say 5 games. Look at the schedule. 5 if we're lucky. I mean, what the? I love Charles right here. Going, what the fuck is an Arsenal? That's what I ask all the time. Patrick says, I'm going to ride my bike while I listen. I did hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Charles Barkley says, you're going to restructure Thomas. We have Johnny ABA dropping in saying, Joe Shane, this is the year of Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones only had 10 games before he was pulled. Joe Shane is a joke. Never should have signed Jones. And everyone knew it except for Joe Shane. And Charles Barkley also says, there's no sun in England. There's no crying in baseball, and there's no sun in England. And we have another friend dropping by. Coming in. He's got a little giant flag behind him. We're going to add him to the stage. It's Big Blue for life. Coming in strong. Also Swing Culture TV. Also everything else. What's going on, my friend? I know you're ready to talk to me about something New York Giants related.
How'd you guess,
in a good way or a bad way?
I think it's in a good way. I try to keep it positive with the Giants, man.
You do. I give you 100% credit for that.
Yeah, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad. Who just walked by?
That was my son.
Oh, okay. You could have said hello.
Yeah, I
That
think
was
he was.
rude.
I think he was in a rush to go play PS5, Tim. Hopefully, he doesn't pick the Giants as his team.
I hope to God. If he does, you didn't raise that kid well, because he should know better. He should at least take. I don't know who he should take, anyone but that. But I'm doing well, my friend. I'm not. I can't complain. It's a nice sunny day outside. I think. I don't know because I'm in the basement. So,
Yeah, it's sunny where I am. It's about 70. Might get up to 75 today.
It was 80 here yesterday, and now it's going down to like 56.
Yeah, same deal. It was well, it's not going down to 56, but it was about 82 yesterday, and today's going to be about 75. So I'm not complaining. It's starting to kind of turn up a little bit. You know, it's changing. It's
Hopefully, it's
transitioning.
turning up like the Giants. That it's coming up like 7-up. So what's the good word?
Man, the good word is I'm totally confused of what we're gonna do at the 3 spot in the draft. That's the good word. I
Like
agree
everybody
with
is.
your point and OGR's point about Mason Graham. I agree. The only way I would bring in Mason Graham would be if I was gonna trade Dexter, but I wouldn't trade Dexter right away. I would
Hold
let
on 1 second. Well, I'm going to give that thought. We're going to drop Rob. I see Rob looking crazy there for a second there. We have R0B also in his house coming in, but I saw you weren't on the camera, so that's why I was waiting for you to come on to the camera mode.
Pause.
Can you hear us?
What's up, Rob?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Is it a dramatic pause? Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah, dramatic pause. Yeah. No, I'm donating right now, so I didn't have the
It's
camera
also
on,
referred
but
to
it's
as a
fine.
stay sure.
Yeah.
I
mean, you know
but,
what? I was
hold on.
donating, but I gotta let you guys see the salt and pepper beard. I can't let you guys not see the salt and pepper beards.
Well, you know, I got 2 of them. I got 2 of them in a row here. I would have that too if I grew a beard. I would have that. If I grew a beard, it'd be white. I'd be fucking Santa right now. But I want to get to. I got to get back to my friend over here with Big Blue, Swing Culture TV, everyone else. You were talking about Mason Graham.
Yeah, I think
and
I
the
agree.
Giants.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you and OGR. I think if I wouldn't draft him at 3, me personally. But if you
Okay.
do draft him, if because there's no telling with the Giants, you know, sometimes if they do draft him, I would get rid of Lawrence the next year. I would, because the point that he made is that by the time we're in the window and we're ready to win, Lawrence is going to be on the downside of his career. But
how far do you think that window is?
I think he got another good 2 years, man.
Okay.
Personally,
So
how old is he? How old is
you're
he?
thinking which one? Dexter Lawrence, I believe, is 27. I think he's 20. I believe he's 27.
Yeah, about another good 2 years. You get the value now while he's at his peak. You can get some good draft picks for him, but I wouldn't get rid of him this year per se. I would if they drafted Graham, yes, keep him 1 year, then get rid of him.
Okay, so you want to keep him 1 year, then move on.
Yeah,
R0.
that's what I would do.
I got him on mute because I keep getting Spanish music on the back with R0 over here. Mr. R0B, who do you mean with the signing of Wilson and Winston, with the signing of Adebo, with the moves the Giants make? It doesn't look like the Giants are going quarterback at 3, no matter who's sitting there, unless maybe it's Cam Ward. I mean, where's the direction you think the Giants are going to be heading in this draft, which, of course, is just a short time away on April 26th?
Shedeur Sanders.
So you still think they're going to go Shedeur Sanders?
100%.
So
100%.
you think that listen, I'm happy if they go Shedeur Sanders, but I don't think they're doing that because you think Joe Shane is going to take not a project quarterback, but a quarterback 3rd overall after signing both Wilson and Winston and have him sit when the edict is he has to win. And that's not going to help him. And all the moves that he's pretty much made are conducive to potentially adding to the win total. But he's going to take his 3rd overall pick and pick a quarterback that's probably not going to start till 2026.
Yes, And I'll explain why. If you give me a minute
Okay.
to explain why. So the Russell Wilson signing to me, if it was any, if they weren't considering quarterback, it wouldn't have just been a 1 year deal. It was 1 year, 10.5 million, but the incentives are all playing time, basically like percentages of snaps and stuff like that. Um, I think when you are going into a season, I think drafting Shador at 3, hoping that he was going to save your job and produce wins, I think is a stretch. Jaden Daniels was an anomaly. That doesn't really happen. CJ Stroud, I know that we saw it like twice within the last 3 years with CJ and with Jaden, but it doesn't really happen like that. And so you look at,
What
like
about Bo
Lamar
Nix?
Jackson. I mean, Bo Nix. I mean, yeah. I mean, but he started.
What now?
To,
Now, wait a minute. But what about now? Of course. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. What about now? People don't want to talk about this, but Caleb Williams statistically is almost identical to the other top rookie quarterbacks. The win loss total's not there, but you have 3 indications right off the bat that that you could have a good season as a rookie in Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Bo Nix,
I'm not
and 2 of them
the
led their teams to the playoffs.
the thing is, I'm not going to compare last year's draft class and say that these 2 guys are going to be able to do what those guys did last year. Like, even with Caleb being as good as he was, Eberflus still got fired. And when you look
Because
at
his
Bo
head coach was a
Nix,
fucking moron.
well,
If
yeah,
you take,
I
wait, we
mean,
got to go back to the Bears. His head coach was a moron. So was his offensive coordinator.
yeah, but I mean, do we have a different opinion about ours at this particular point in time? So, like,
Well,
it's
ours
the
has
same.
a
It's the same
body of
thing.
work of 3 years. So yeah. I mean, they got fired within 12 games of their
Yeah,
entire NFL career.
but like the Broncos, I mean, Sean Payton's a great coach. I think like
Right.
he's phenomenal, right? So I think with Russell Wilson, it gives you the opportunity to produce wins. But John Mara said he wanted in this offseason to find his quarterback of the future. And I think the way that Joe Shane can sell it to John is you brought in he's Russell Wilson's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl MVP. He's going to get the Giants wins. I have the Giants potentially winning anywhere from 7 to 9 games as the roster is currently constructed. And then at that point, you can also sell that you've got your quarterback of the future. So Russell leaves in the next year. Jameis is here for 2 years. Now Jameis is your backup to Shador Sanders, and now Shador is getting mentored by 2 really good quarterbacks, a potential Hall of Famer, and you have Jameis Winston, who I think is a great locker room guy, despite the fact of him being drafted #1 and not having the career of what a #1 overall pick would
Well,
be. He's still a great leader.
One of the issues that he has for not having a career going back to Tampa is he is not a student of the game. He's not a film room guy. He's admitted he doesn't watch a ton of film. He has
Mhm.
not honed his craft over the last 7-8 years. Literally to the point in Tampa, they were 7-9, got rid of him, go to the Super Bowl the next year and win because
Mhm.
Bruce Arians knew that he was a quarterback away and Jameis Winston wasn't the guy. And like I said, is that the guy though that you want to be the mentor to your young quarterback? Is a guy that doesn't? He's fun in the locker room, and people will tell you that until they start losing, and he starts piling up the interceptions. Then his
So
act wore thin in Tampa, and his act at the end wore thin in with the Saints as well.
So I think with these 2 guys, so you heard Russell talk about he's a film rat. And I think Shador is going to get the best of both worlds. I think Russell will give you the film. He'll give you the
Right.
breakdowns. He'll give you all of that stuff. Jameis, what he will give you is not getting rattled, always keeping a positive head. Never letting, if the team is struggling, get you down. How to keep the locker room, still upbeat and be a leader from that perspective. I don't necessarily think he's going to give you on the field type of mentorship, but it's about how to keep things afloat in the locker room and with your teammates when things are going bad, where Russell's going to give him the knowledge. Russell's going to give him all of that other stuff, and he'll be ready to go in 2026. So I still think it's going to be Shador Sanders at 3 if he's there. if he is not there and the quarterbacks go 1 and 2, I know everybody wants Travis and wants Abdul Carter, and don't mind either one of those two guys. I'm also not against Mason Graham, but not at 3. At that point, if you like Mason Graham, I think a team like Jacksonville may want to add a guy like a Travis Hunter, right? They need corner, they need playmakers. Maybe move back if you can orchestrate a trade back to 5, get a couple of draft picks, and you could take Mason Graham at 5. I don't think drafting Mason Graham means you need to get rid of Dexter Lawrence. I mean, at one point, the Rams had Ndamukong Suh, who I obviously was at the end of his career, and they had Aaron Donald on the field, and they were dominant.
How many years was Ndamukong Suh with the Rams?
I think 2 or 3. I think it was 2. Might have been 2. I think it was 2.
But at the end of his career. So Dominic, you're not talking about taking, you're not talking about taking, Aaron Donald and Dexter Lawrence and putting them both on the same line. Ndamukong Suh is not a Ndamukong Suh anymore.
No, I know that. I just don't think that you need to, just because you draft Mason Graham. I don't think that makes Dexter Lawrence expendable. Because they could turn around and take, again, if a scenario, Shador goes 2, quarterbacks are gone, you move back to 5, you take Mason Graham, they move back into the first, or take Jackson Dart at 2, or in the second round, right? You still have a rookie quarterback on your roster getting on the rookie pay scale, so like you can afford to pay other players. You're not paying the most important position a big chunk of money, so to speak.
Hey, Rob, I'm going to let you go for a little bit because I'm getting a lot of feedback on your end.
I think
it's everything's going on over there. But let me let you go for a little bit. Call me get back to us when you get a little bit more chance to get back to us. I keep getting a lot of feedback. Whoops, hold on. That was a lot of feedback. So where do we go from here? We all know what your win total is, Mr. I mean, I don't know what to call you because you have so many different handles. I don't like using people's real names because you never know what they're. But I'm going to just call you Big Blue. All right, Big Blue. Right. That's good. That's good. You got the.
We'll go with Big Blue. Big Blue. That sounds good to me.
We're gonna go with Big Blue here. You've seen all the moves that were made. You know everything's going on. I mean, if Shador Sanders, I think if Shador is sitting there at 3, I personally think still it's the best move. It's the move that it doesn't matter if you have 10 quarterbacks or whatever, because all of these guys are older quarterbacks, but I still take Shador at 3 if he's sitting there. Big Blue, what do you take? Who are you taking?
We had a conversation last year. You probably don't remember. And we were discussing quarterback picks.
I remember everything.
And then I brought up Shador then, and we both agreed that he probably wasn't going to be coming out in that particular draft last year.
I do remember. Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
So if Shador is available, I take Shador. If he's available, let's say Cam Ward goes 1 to Tennessee, and Cleveland decides to take Abdul Carter. I take Shador. And we had a conversation one time. I told you about a book I read for The Contender. You told me you read the same book. Some guys it factor. You spoke about Dak this morning in his film and his workout. Dak does not have that it factor. Jalen Hurts does. Jaden Daniel does. Pat Mahomes does. I don't think Josh Allen. I don't think he has it. Some guys just know how to win. I don't care if they beat you 13-12. They know how to get to the finish line before you do. They know how to make those clutch plays.
It doesn't mean you have to have all the ability in the world. You have to have the fact. Like I said, we've talked about with Jalen.
Right,
we talked about Jalen Hurts. You're 100% right.
You don't have to be a phenomenal quarterback. You don't have to come out there and pass for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. You just have to be able to win when it counts. And I think that Shador has proven that throughout his college career. And granted, of course, we don't know if, particularly at the quarterback position, if the college his accomplishments at college is gonna translate to the NFL. But I think the kid is a winner. I think his accuracy is right where it needs to be. Just look at the offensive line that he had. I think he got sacked something like 50-something times last season.
7 times. Now,
Yeah,
what would you say to the people that tell you that he is 0-11 against top 5 or top 10 competition?
I mean, look at his
Shador
look
Sanders.
at the. So you look at the team as a whole. Shador, the weakness with that Colorado team was those big boys in the trenches. They didn't have those big boys in the trenches. He didn't have a running game, and as much as falls on a quarterback's shoulder, they can't win the game by themselves. This is the ultimate team sport. I would take Shador Sanders, man. That's who I would take.
Oh,
If
and
he's still there, I would
Hirsch for
take
Reals
him.
even got it right.
Was that
Eli had the it fact. I mean, Hirsch for Reals got it right, just like you
right?
said. Eli had the it factor. Eli didn't
The
have all the
scariest
talent
thing
in the
is
world, but
Eli
Eli
in the
Manning had the
playoffs. Scariest
or
thing is
Eli
Eli in the
Manning in the fourth
playoffs.
quarter
Yeah.
with 2 minutes left, down by 5. Big James, Maverick has the ball.
What up, fellas?
What's up, James?
What up, Big Swing?
Man, everything, brother. How you been?
I'm good. How you, man?
Man, I'm good, brother. No complaining.
Oh, good. Big Tim, you already know.
What's up, man? I know, man.
What up?
I don't go. It's like a day without sunshine when I don't talk to James.
Oh,
Of course,
don't
that's
go
coming
sweet
from
on
somebody.
us.
Fuck you.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. We got. Yeah, I know. I felt all funny inside saying something nice to James. James, you're sitting at 3. You know the moves the Giants have made. I love it. I loved it right now because I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get a rant today. But Danny says it best for James. Oh yeah, it's the angry black man. Stand up and applaud the man. It's the man of Smithers, James Williams. You know you're sitting at 3. You know the moves that you've made the Giants. If you're Joe Shane in your mind or anyone's mind, because I never want to get into the mind of Joe Shane because that's just a scary place to be. Where do you go with that 3rd pick? Do you go after everything you move? Do you go quarterback? Do you go defensive tackle? Do you go? I mean, the logical choice would be Travis Hunter. I mean, maybe you trade out. Where you go?
I'm just Shador at 3 if he's there. I don't think we all need to say that anymore, right?
Right.
Shador at 3 if he's there, right? So that's the logical move, right?
Right.
I'm gonna say something crazy, and I'm glad Swing is here for another opinion on it. Of course, with you, Tim, but crazy question that I'm gonna start proposing more. When was the last time a good team took 2 wide receivers back to back in the top 10, and that team turned into a contender with those receivers on the same team? I'll wait.
Wow.
I'll wait.
Top 10?
Wow.
And the top 10 back-to-back years.
Top 10 though. It has to be the top 10.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, I can't think of any.
That's the problem.
I was thinking Clayton and Duper out of Miami, but they weren't in the top 10.
Right. So that's the problem we're in.
You mean?
And you guys know a lot of football.
In reference to Travis?
Right. So that's what I'm saying, Swing. So if you look at it, right, from the outside, like let's just get out of this crazy Giants world. You're looking at it from the outside.
Danny says the Bengals.
They took 2 wide receivers in the top 10 back-to-back and then turned into a contender?
T. Higgins was not taken at that point in time. No.
I was going to say, like, I've looked this up before I proposed this question, so I'm just, I could be wrong.
I see you there, Rob. Hold on. Hold on a minute, Rob. Hold on. Rob's off camera getting all crazy. I got to talk to these guys first, Rob. You were already on for a few minutes. Hold on. Everyone wants to come on today.
Yo, man, we got to come in and spread the good word on Sunday.
I know it is a beautiful.
But seriously though, when was the last?
I can't think of wide receivers back to down.
I can't either. I can't think.
So I say that to say everybody again. This is reminding me of Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau a little bit, where it's like you got to take one of these guys. And when you really think about it, has his own issues, right? And given the position we're in, if we're not going to get a quarterback at 3, I'm going to say something really crazy. If you're sitting there at 3 and quarterbacks go 1 and 2, that means you have the whole draft to pick from. You have the whole field. If we really were confident in our GM, which we're not, that's also the problem. and our scout team, shouldn't they be looking at other positions besides just Travis and Carter? We have
What
the whole
position?
field to look at.
What position?
Offensive line, just
You think we could
saying.
use that? Now,
I'm just saying, if you think one last thing and then I'll shut up. The sexy pick is not always the best pick, especially in football. You take the flashy pick, that may help you for it look good on ESPN, but the real teams, they take the non-sexy pick, something for later, something that's going to go unseen. If we were a real team, we would take the best offensive lineman if we can't get Shador, because to me, Travis Hunter, again, I just said it, taking a wide receiver back-to-back in the top 10 has never helped the franchise.
So here's
No.
my question.
Carter has his. Go ahead.
So here's my question to you. It's kind of a catch-22. You're getting the DB and a wide receiver. Now, if I would agree with you if Travis Hunter was just a wide receiver, you're getting a guy that can play on both sides of the field.
We
So
hope so.
why not take that guy? And then with offensive linemen, you see our history with the offensive linemen, right? And these guys are typically positions that take a little longer to develop in the league. The guys in the on the O line, the guys in the trenches, and this is why I wouldn't go with offensive linemen. But the question is this: your job is on the line, right? So we're thinking as fans, we got to the rest of our natural lives to root for this team. You're Joe Shane, I'm Dave's. You trying to keep your checks coming? You got a family to feed. What are you? You gonna take an O lineman? That's probably gonna develop in another 2-3 years, or may not develop at all. Or you're gonna go with the generational talent.
Well, that's a
I
great
have
point.
to. I have to get to this point though, because I just remembered this about the Detroit Lions. I got to kibosh the point about this. But James's point, this was 3 wide. I forgot all about this. This was 3 wide receivers in the top 10. Charles Rogers, 2nd overall. Roy Williams, who had an okay career, then ended up in Dallas, and then Mike Williams of USC. And Mike Williams, if people forget, he actually went and filed a petition against the NFL to be allowed to be early eligibility, which in my mind costed him basically millions of dollars, because then the courts ruled against him and he had to go back to college. But he already said, I'm not going back to college anymore. And college, USC already threw him out. So he sat a year, still got drafted 10th overall, but I think he only played in 56 games his entire career. And I don't think he ever had 1,000-yard. I don't think he ever had a 1,000-yard season. I think
And how good were those teams,
no,
Tim?
They were good. They were
No,
terrible.
with Joey Harrington at quarterback.
Yeah, they were terrible. They were terrible. But yes, that is 3 wide receivers, 3 consecutive years in the top 10s. Charles Rogers, Roy Williams, and Mike Williams. To prove James' point. We're gonna drop Rob back, and I think I can't see what Rob's doing though. He's moving back around again. Can you hear us, Rob?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do I sound better now?
You have this echo.
Echo. Is it better now?
I don't know. I think, yeah, now it is. So maybe it's your maybe it's just your headset. Asmi says to Big Blue's point, or not to his point, maybe to his other point. He doesn't want a gadget player. I'm not saying that Travis Hunter is a gadget player. I don't think he's an Isaiah Simmons. I also don't think, if you take a look back in history, how many times did Charles Woodson play both sides of the ball? How many times did someone like Champ Bailey play on both sides of the ball? No, they were specifically given a position, and early in their career maybe had 5 or 6 snaps a game at the other position, because the NFL understands learning what to Lester's point, learning one position is hard enough than it is trying to learn 2 and be successful at both of them. But like I said, I still think Shador Sanders at 3, if there is, should be the consensus pick.
Should be, but it's not. But it's not.
But we are the Giants though. So we literally could take Jackson Dart at 3.
I don't know.
Now I didn't get it.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Rob. No, go ahead. No, my question was good. You still fucking interrupted me. Shut up a second. So I didn't talk to you guys about this, but Jackson Dart had his pro day. And like I said, I always call it the best choreographed NFL ballet you ever have, because you literally just work on 60 throws and you accentuate your good points and you try to prove that you could do certain things. Jackson Dart's pro day, he had a good pro day, and we've talked about it before. Who really had a bad pro day as a quarterback outside of someone like Tom Brady? But you had a guy that he had a good pro day. Joe Milton, to me, had a better pro day than Jackson Dart, if you want me to be 100% honest, because of the fact that at one point in time, if you watch the film, they had to take Joe Milton outside the dome because he kept hitting the top of the fucking dome with the ball. So I mean, it's when Jalen Milroe. Sorry, I'm gonna keep saying Joe Milton, because Lester's got me on. We were talking about Joe Milton last time. Jalen Milroe had a wonderful pro day. Does this pro day that Jackson Dart had, does it facilitate the Giants to maybe consider him at 3, or maybe trading back from where they're at, which Rob was saying earlier about maybe trading back to later in the draft and maybe getting some assets? But if you're so much in love with Jackson Dart, picking up, I don't think he has the arm strength to be this wonderful NFL quarterback. Like I said, it reminds me of a javelin thrower. But if you're Joe Shane, do you see that guy? And I know James loves Jackson Dart, and say, okay, look at his pro day. He's proving everyone wrong. Outside of the Furman game, outside of the 19 touchdowns in 5 games, 10-8, outside of all that, he couldn't beat Florida, and he was given multitudes of times to beat Florida. How many? I mean, is that something you consider Joe Shane even thinking about?
I don't know how much stock I put into like the pro days itself, right? I mean, it's good to get out there and see those kids, especially because when you go to the combine, because he threw at the combine, you're throwing with receivers that you're not really comfortable with, you've never thrown to before, your timing is off, so on and so forth. So at least, you know, he has guys like Trey Harris out there, guys that he's been throwing to the entire year, so your timing can look better and things like that. I think it's the 30 visits and going out to dinner and finding out who the player is and what makes them tick and those things. That's what's important. I like Jackson Dart, not in the first round, like in the top, like at 3 or anything like that. I like him, but I think he's got a good aura. I like the way he plays the game. I think he's got a strong arm. He's mobile. He can be used in the running game. He's got a little bit of power to him when he runs. I think there are things that Brian Dable can relate to if you're looking at what Brian Dable did the first couple of years when Daniel Jones was here. I also don't think that is the only way that Brian Dable wants to call offense. Like, you heard Brian Dable say, oh, well, if I could in Hard Knocks, I would take C.J. Stroud. Well, C.J. Stroud isn't Daniel Jones as far as running. C.J. Stroud isn't Jalen Milroe, and C.J. Stroud isn't Josh Allen. C.J. Stroud is a pocket passer that is mobile. Then obviously he would trade up for Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is more of that, right? But they were looking at a guy like Matthew Stafford, who's not really this great mobile guy, but he's a great processor. He could throw the football. So I don't think that Brian Dable has this, like, he probably has what he likes, but I think that he can, as long as you can process the game and throw with anticipation, I think that's what he's looking for. If you're mobile, which Shador's mobile, like he can run, he can get out of the pocket, he can use his legs, he can do all that stuff. So I think it's about the 30 visits more than it is like the pro days and shit like that, and just sitting down, talking with them and finding out who they are, what makes them tick, and maybe even going through your own personal drills with them versus what they do there.
I thought of a quarterback taken in the first round who had a bad pro day, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater had a god awful pro day. It just dawned on me like the last 10 minutes. So someone asked me who's ever had a bad pro day. Teddy Bridgewater is my prime example for a bad pro day.
And he was looking decent in the league before he got hurt.
That knee surgery.
Yeah, that really screwed him up.
Yeah.
I mean, but Big Blue, does Jackson Dart, with his wonderful pro day and his just in general, does that move the needle for Joe Shane or the Giant fans in reference to him potentially being selected at 3, or maybe the Giants moving back in the first round to grab him?
I don't know about Joe Shane. Like you said, I'd hate to be inside his mind. But as personally as a Giants fan, I think Jackson Dart is a day two pick at his peak. Again, that Lane Kiffin offense, that he looks like a better version of DJ to me, man. He has this. I haven't really watched a lot of Ole Miss games, but he's a one read quarterback, bro. As far as what Lane was asking him to do. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't have the ability to do those things, but he has not done it. I would not draft Jackson Dart at 3. That'd be the ultimate overdraft if you ask me. If Shador isn't there, I go BPA, man. I don't go Jackson Dart. If Shador isn't there, I go BPA. And in the second round, believe it or not, I think I said it on the last show, I'll go with Jalen Milrow. I think Jalen Milrow has the most upside out of any quarterback in this entire draft, bro. Arm, athleticism, all the things that you can't teach, this kid has. All the intangibles. His mechanics he needs to work on. His accuracy he needs to work on. He's a good deep ball thrower. But if you ask me, and I said it, if he's 75% of what Lamar Jackson is right now, if you could develop him to 75% of what Lamar Jackson is right now, we got a hell of a quarterback on our hands. You can't teach the things this kid does, and I'm wondering why all the talk is about Jackson Dart and the kid out of Syracuse and Boyle, and they're not talking about Milrow. Milrow's going
That's
to be a steal for somebody. If he falls to
that's
the Steelers, he's going to.
that's
You
the
know
point.
what?
That's the point I'm
Yeah.
trying. That's the point I'm trying to get to. That Jalen Milrow's pro day. If you watch it, you and I have talked about this last time, Big Blue. If you watch him from his last game in college to what he
Mhm.
did, how he improved in the combine to now the way he looks in reference to he's got a repetitive motion now in his throwing motion. His footwork looks much better. He has all the athletic ability. He has the big arm. People talk about that. Well, Jackson Dart had the most yardage per completion in all of college football at
Yeah,
10
yeah,
point whatever, but Jalen Milrow was it was third at like 10.3. So there
right.
wasn't much of a difference. And you could literally see the progression of the learning process of him understanding his throwing motion, his footwork, and building up to something. But people talk about now Jalen Milrow moving up into the second round. But everyone sees the Jackson Dart pro day. And I think Jalen Milrow had a better pro day. But Jackson Dart, all of a sudden, after this pro day, could potentially be a third overall pick.
Um,
I'm James. I already know where you're going with it. I already know we're heading down that track with James.
I was about to say James made an interesting point earlier,
I'm
but go ahead,
befuddled.
James.
James.
Go
I
ahead,
am
James.
befuddled of why these two guys, which are very similar, which one played at a bigger time program, one has shown a progression of improvement. Like I said, I was impressed with Jalen Milrow at the pro day. He threw some
Yeah.
outs that I was
Yep.
like, you would have missed that in college. Now, of course, like I said, it's another thing where, to R0B's point, is you're not throwing to your wide receivers.
It's scripted, yeah.
You're not. You're just told what you are told what to do. They line up the cones and then you do it. I am more impressed with that than I am a scripted pro day because you have no opportunity to think. You have to do what just you're told, and which that's what football is. You go out there, you have 3 seconds, hopefully, between when the ball is snapped and you get the ball to do something. I was more impressed with that, but James, for some reason, one came from a big time program, has shown a progression, shown an improvement, and has, I think, a better pro day, a stronger arm, and more athletic ability. And we know the kid's fast, but somehow he's a second rounder, and Jackson Dart is third overall.
Go
Potential.
ahead, James. Cook, bro.
Go, James.
Cook, James.
I got a good one, right?
I'm just gonna sit up for this one and sit back.
I got a good one because I'm not gonna do the normal crazy, but I'm gonna say this. If we were all sitting in a room and we're GMs, the three of us, right? Let's just say we're all co-GMs. Our scouts come in and they say, guys, I found this kid. He's got real potential. He comes from a lineage in football.
Sorry.
He's got football in his veins, in his family tree. He likes to throw from the pocket. He's accurate. He can read defenses. Now, he's not really super big or mobile. He's not like a Michael Vick. He's not a Cam Newton. He likes to throw from the pocket. He can break down film. He has a good arm. And and he has a high ceiling. If I told you that, most fans would go, "Oh, okay, that sounds like a guy we were."
That's like a guy.
That's Shador Sanders.
Okay.
But when you attach the look and the name to what I just said, now it's a problem. I got another crazy scenario. You know how lucky we are? And again, I don't wish nobody getting hurt, but you know how lucky we are that Carson Beck kind of folded in this college football? By the way, Jalen Milroe played him head up, by the way, just saying that. But you know how lucky we are that Carson Beck, kind of folded and then he got injured and transferred to Miami. He's not in this draft because we would be taking Carson Beck at 3.
Oh, listen, I already admitted I liked Carson Beck coming into the
right.
season.
But I'm just saying, like, things happen for a reason. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time in life, whether you understand it or not, things happen for a reason. There's a reason why we're here at 3. We lost all these games. There happens to be a young prospect out there who looks like me and our good brother right here. Yet
great.
Most people don't want to take him. They'd rather take a kid who came from the same school that Eli Manning went to, because we love to make connections. That's what we do here. We love to make connections. It's like the love connection here. He went to Ole Miss. He had Eli Manning's locker. Holy crap. He wrote his name inside the locker next to Eli. J Dart. Hiya. That's a great connection, right? We'll run some laps for that. The guy, if you haven't watched film on him, or whatever, who has real film? Just game highlights, right? Game film. Go do it. I encourage, please, because I've done it. Georgia Southern, Furman, Southern Baptist Tech University of Yo Mama's house, Duke and his bowl game,
Arkansas.
The mighty These are powerhouse. These are powerhouse teams.
Wow.
So, it's like, I heard, like, Big Rob, I love Big Rob. He said something a little funny. Everything he said was cool, but he said Jackson Dart has he didn't say it factor, but he said he has the aura. So Jackson Dart, to some fans, not really just Rob, but that's how half our fan base thinks. He has more of an aura than the son of an NFL Hall of Famer.
Well, wait, before you go there, I want this may knock James into the Angry Black Man segment. One of the things that is an issue with Shador Sanders that you hear from certain scouts is that he's overconfident, that he potentially comes off as cocky and arrogant. But you hear about Jackson Dart, that Jackson Dart has an aura about him. He has this confidence in himself and his ability that he just believes in himself. Well, and I know Fabian's saying stop the color stuff, man, but Fabian, you have to talk about this stuff. This
but why is that?
You have to
but Fabian, your team that you love, that you buy their paraphernalia, you go to the games, we all have Giants gear. Look at, he's got the Giants hanging up in the wall. I got my girls laying on the Giants pillow. Tim's got all that. Why can't we talk about color when in a league that half the quarterbacks are black? Our team has never drafted a black quarterback in the first 4 goddamn rounds.
This is true.
Why can't we? We didn't have a black president and then had another black president try to run as a female. But we can't talk about that in sports. Come on, man.
But let's just get back.
It's dumb.
I knew I'd get James fired up.
You're getting me riled up. I was calm. Stop it.
James going Super Saiyan right now.
Let's just get back to the fact that one of them has this aura and has this ability and has this je ne sais quoi about him, and this other guy is arrogant, cocky, and it's off-putting, that will not transition. This is what I'm reading from some alleged scouts, will not transition well into the NFL locker room. But how is one guy this leader and has this aura, and this other guy is cocky and arrogant, and it's going to be a detriment to the team or the organization?
So let me add to that for a second, Tim. I watched I watched Skip Bayless interview Deion Sanders a couple days ago, and Deion said that it was one team, and he reached out to the head coach of the team, and it was the quarterback coach on the team. Now, of course, he's not gonna
Not gonna say
disclose the
who.
name, but allow me to play devil's advocate for a second. There's nothing new about negative reports coming out about player, regardless of their ethnicity, to get them to drop down to your team. This could be probably the same ploy. You know, I'm just trying to be a little optimistic here. You've heard, I mean, you heard it about, well, some players you've heard things and it turns out to be true.
Right.
Kayvon Thibodeau being compared to Clowney. But you have other situations where these guys put out, these teams who actually want to draft you, put out negative reports just to have you drop in the draft so they can pick you up. You know, it has happened in the past.
Now,
Oh,
I definitely understand that, but
yeah.
coming out of the combine,
Hmm.
it wasn't allegedly one team. It was multiple teams that were felt that some of his answers were cocky and arrogant, and he came off, you know, he came off kind of like a dick, I guess. And it wasn't one team. There was multiple teams at the combine that said that they were turned off by some of his answers to his questions, that he has too much. And I love this because I that's why I always laughed after the combine. I think I want a quarterback that has too much confidence in his ability. I don't think I want a guy that's like, well, I could be good.
Maybe.
But
Or why bother? Maybe I
exactly.
can throw a touchdown.
Maybe I could Daniel Jones it, but I would rather have that kid that's, I don't care if you're white, black, Chinese, or a Martian. I would rather have that kid that's confident in his ability. And I've said it a million times before. I don't care what color you are, and I don't care how great of a kid you are. I'd rather have an asshole who could read defenses. You
You've
know,
said it multiple times.
it doesn't matter to me. Like I said, people made fun of Caleb Williams. I told you he could wear a dress and wear fucking lead press on nails and play during
Yeah,
the game. But if he throws 4 touchdowns and 300 yards and I'm winning, I could literally give two shits.
right.
But there just seems to be. I just find it weird. I'm not saying there's a racial element. Everyone could just decide what they want. But Jackson Dart is confident. He has this aura. He believes in his ability. But Shador Sanders is arrogant, cocky, and is going to rub people in the NFL locker room the wrong way because of this, even though he grew up in NFL locker rooms.
Right.
That's all I'm. And that to people in chat. That's all I'm saying.
And even quicker,
I'm letting everyone else go to their own opinions.
super quick thing, just to feel like to correlate things, because I used to work with kids, and we have a lot of kids in this fan base. If you watch the movie Top Gun and you like Maverick the character,
Right.
he's literally Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
He's literally Shador Sanders. His father was a pilot. My father played in the NFL. I'm not as big as the other pilots physically. I'm short, I'm brash, I'm loud. I don't follow the rules all the time. But I can put the team on my back and get it done. It's literally Shador Sanders. So if you like Maverick and Top Gun, which we joke about all the time, then how can you sit up here and say, I don't want that as my quarterback?
That's exactly
I don't
what you
understand.
want. You don't walk into a situation as an athlete or doubting yourself. You walk into the situation with it. You have to have the foresight to make things happen that others are saying that it cannot happen. You think Tom Brady walked in the huddle saying, "Well, gee, guys, we're down at halftime against Atlanta. Let's just try our best to not get blown out." You think that halftime speech was, "No, we're gonna come back, we're gonna beat their fucking ass." Excuse my French. You gotta have that moxie about you. And Tim, you said it many times. You rather take an asshole or quarterback, and I agree with you. I think part of it is Dion hate. I think that a lot of times, you hear misery loves company, right? And Dion said it herself. You have somebody who's fairly successful. They're not timid about their success. I'm not gonna say so. It might be come across a little braggadocious. It might come across a little arrogant. But at the end of the day, you will celebrate your accomplishments. So I don't give a hell who likes it or not. If I'm good at something and the world can see, I'm gonna let the world know that I'm good at it. Period. That I'm the guy for the job. So why should I shy away from my talents? And some people, it's like for me, there's like the commercialized America where everything has to be so pretty, but the truth is, when you walk into a locker room, that's not what they're showing you on television is not really what's going on in that locker room. Everybody is competitive. Guys are back there trying to save their jobs, trying to feed their families, trying to be the best versions of who they are, regardless of their color, regardless of their ethnicity. You have to have that perennial dog in you to be successful, not only in athleticism and as an athlete, but just in life in general. It doesn't matter what your job is. You have to believe that you can do your job to the best of your ability and you're better than the other person. So if coming across arrogant is what it takes to get that job done and to be successful, that's what you need to do, period.
I think Mr. Weaver's. I think it's a wonderful point. I think Mr. Weaver actually here is kind of expanding on that point. I read all of a sudden Shedeur Sanders is a reach for the Giants. So Dart isn't such a complete reach. Bullshit. Go get Sanders and win some games. Win some damn games. Let's go Big Blue. I think, like I said, I just don't understand how this kid from 3 years ago, Jackson State, did everything that he did. Moved to Colorado, moved up a level in competition, played well, had a better year next year than the following season. Statistically, had a better year. With, in my mind, he had more than just Travis Hunter on the team, but he had a terrible offensive line. And I pointed out the fact that people talk about the pro day. There was video of Shedeur Sanders preparing for his pro day. I saw on X, and literally this guy stood at the 25 and dropped a dime on the other side of the field at the other 20 in the air with no effort. It was an effortless throw. Now, like I said, I see Jackson Dart make that throw. It looks like it looks like he's throwing a javelin. I watched Shedeur Sanders with zero effort. Same with Jalen Milroe. Same with Cam Ward. No effort make this throw. But for some reason, the pro day from one guy is 100% better than the other guy. And one guy's cocky and arrogant, but the other guy has this leadership quality, even though because he believes in himself. I don't know. I'm just saying I find it weird.
He's supposed to believe in himself. If he's supposed to believe in himself, he wouldn't be in the position he's in if he didn't believe in himself.
And like I said, Jackson Dart believing in himself, that's what like I said, if it's the pick, that's what I want. I want the quarterback to believe in himself. I want the quarterback to think that he is the best person on that field to give the Giants the opportunity to win the game. I don't want someone coming in here being like, oh, well, I could win. I don't want to go through 6 years of what I went through previously when we had to wait for the quarterback messiah to turn into something. And we sat there, and not us, but we sat a certain segment of the fan base, extolled the virtues of a 3,000-yard, 15 touchdown season, like he just threw for 5,000. Jameis Winston had a better season throwing for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns with the 30 interceptions. Right. But we took a 3,000-yard, 15 touchdown season, and certain parts of the fan base molded that into that's one of the greatest seasons in Giant history.
Yes, we did. No, we did. It's not even funny. We did. We took a guy who fell down on his face on national TV and propped him up as the Messiah.
Yeah. And we literally said that, no one near him trips over his own feet.
Guys, it's sports. It ain't that hard, man.
Especially, it's easy. And I always laugh because I always joke, I just thought about this. I always jokingly say football is not played in a straight line. So if someone can run a 4.3 and a 40, it doesn't matter because all you're doing is running straight.
Right.
Daniel Jones couldn't run straight. He literally fell down running straight. But
by
for
himself.
some reason, for 6 years, I had to hear about this guy. And did you ever really see Daniel Jones come out and give himself a true confidence boost in his own ability? I think one of the biggest problems I had with Daniel Jones is he always great kid. He admitted when he made mistakes, but he never came out until the end of his career with the Giants and said, I am the right guy for this job, because he never had any competition. But we're supposed to now sit there and say, okay, well, one guy is arrogant and cocky. The other guy believes in himself and has an aura. Well, we haven't had that with any quarterback in the last 6 years. So Lord knows what they're going to fucking do.
I think our locker room, as far as the quarterbacks are concerned, improve drastically. Now, Russ is on the downside of his career, of course, but I think at least we win a few games. Hopefully 8 to 10 games this season. But Daniel Jones is one of those guys. Probably one of the luckiest guys. No, seriously, he's probably one of the luckiest guys as far as like just. I'm not talking about his professional career. As far as him just getting to that bag, he just got 14 million, bro.
He won the lottery twice.
Right. He just got 14 mil. He got
really
the
3 times. You got to say 3 times because he shouldn't have been drafted at 6.
No.
Right.
That's lotto ticket number 1. Then we re-upped on him over Saquon. That's number 2. And then another team actually paid you another 14 million to compete with a kid they took in the top 5.
Yo, while you're still getting paid 20-something million from the Giants.
Well, he's not getting
That guy
paid.
got
He's not getting paid 22. We just have a dead cap number of 22.
Oh, he's not. So he's not getting paid the 20.
It's just a dead cap number off the contract value because
Okay, so he's making 14.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
So he's making 14.
Oh, he's not making 20. He's making 14. Ooh.
No, he's only making.
Yeah.
He's only making.
Wow.
He's only making
Feel bad for his
14 million
his
this year.
kids.
Right. To compete with Anthony Richardson, who they didn't take the time to develop.
Wow. And you're already thinking about trying to move on from him. Wow.
Just think about it. I think this guy's Kenny Pickett gone on his 3rd team in 3 years.
Yeah.
Gone. These teams don't take the time. The Giants, I don't know, man. This is crazy.
You know what's even crazier? Last point. Justin Fields, who we passed on in the draft, by the way, when we could have moved on from Jones, he was sitting right there, I think at 10 or 11.
Yeah, we traded.
Sitting right there.
We traded.
Yeah.
The Bears took him, and we all said that, well, Tim and I agreed. Eberflus, he sucked as a coach. There's no way you're going to develop a quarterback with that guy.
No, he was.
Fields is at a disadvantage there. Goes to Pittsburgh. I'm 4-2. The team brings in another quarterback in Russell. Okay, they go off, losing the playoffs. That same team doesn't want to bring Russell back. They reached out to me, but I didn't went to the Jets because the Jets gave me 2 years, whatever it was, 40 mil.
20 million a year, yeah.
And I haven't even won a playoff game.
Right.
I haven't even played in a playoff game. But we want to sit up here and carry on about this. Not going to do it today. Calm down.
I have to laugh though because everyone fails to point out the last 8 games in Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson was 2-6.
Right.
2-6, and they didn't even want him back. They're sitting there waiting on their hands for Rodgers. Happily, they could have had Wilson and been moving on to They'd rather wait for Rodgers.
Still waiting. Still loading.
Okay.
Loading.
Like that's still loading. We're still loading.
Loading.
He could retire. He could retire. And then Pittsburgh is sitting there like, freeze.
So James, according to reports, it was a personality clash with Russ and management and at Steelers facility. Same thing in Denver.
Oh wow, same thing everywhere he's been.
So this week I sent Tim a copy of the interview with Russell Wilson on Club Shay Shay. Not Russell, with Beast Mode.
With Mashar.
Yeah.
Did you see that interview, James?
Yeah. When he talked about how he called him private. Your quarterback called your franchise running back. He called me, hey man, I just called you. Is this your number? He called him back private, y'all. Because he didn't want Marshawn. Russell Wilson called Marshawn Lynch private because he didn't want the running back to have his phone number.
But it was so much to unpack within that
short period of time, yeah.
Of that interview. There was so much, and I hope that's not the energy that Russ brings into the Giants locker room. I hope that he learned his lesson, dating back from Seattle to Denver and then to Pittsburgh. I hope that's not the energy that he brings in because he's one of the guys that's good for the camera, right? The commercialized. What was it saying? Oh yeah, go Hawks. Whatever the case may be. I hope that's not what he brings.
Yeah, no.
Bro. I hope
it's okay. I'll say it so you won't have to. He's the football Tiger Woods. He's great.
Right.
He's so
My man.
non-threatening. He's being
My
professional.
man.
Tim, don't even say anything. I said it. You're good.
My man.
It's okay. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna be professional. He is. He's gonna say all the right words.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Right.
have to laugh, James, because I was gonna say that the other day.
We got Jameis Winston, the
I was
crooked
gonna say
preacher,
that the other
and the
day.
Black Tiger Woods.
He is Tiger
I got
Woods.
one for you guys. It's the human element, right? It's sort of like Shane. It's like you still have to connect with your coworkers, right? With the guys in the locker room. And you have to connect with these people because essentially you guys are going to war together. And you just don't, and with Shane, you just don't get rid of guys. Sure, this guy may not be the most talented athlete in the locker room, but he holds these, he's the guy the gel that bring guys together. I think as far as the locker room leadership, just the locker room leadership, I think Winston may be better for the locker room than Jameis. You have to have that one guy. And getting rid of Saquon, ultimately, you had no leadership in that locker room. Now, you heard some good things and some bad things about McKinney, but who's your leader on defense? You just can't just, hey, listen, look at the numbers. This makes sense. Yeah, the numbers may make sense, but you need chemistry in the locker room. You got to have the right guys in the locker room. And Russ may win some games, but what kind of locker room leader is Russ going to be?
I actually have to get out of here, but I do have a question, and I just kind of was thinking, you were talking about locker room leadership. You would automatically assume in the Giants' defensive side of the football, you talk about Xavier McKinney, that Dexter Lawrence would be the locker room leader. But you never really hear any Giant players or anyone in the Giants side of the football say, because you always talk about leadership. You never ever hear anyone mention Dexter Lawrence as being a leader of the defense. I mean, great player, Pro Bowler, but you never hear anyone say, well, he's the leader. He's the leader of this defense. Why do you think that is?
Maybe because he's not the leader of the defense.
That's where I was going.
Maybe because he's not. Maybe because there is no leader of the defense. And I can prove this to you right now, based on reports. When we had the situation with Deontay Banks not giving effort, right?
Right.
Dexter threw him under the bus. We're talking about it now. Great leaders, you would never hear about the situation. It wouldn't be a topic of discussions, period.
Well, it's not like you have a Harry Carson in the locker room that if someone got out of line or someone didn't. And I always say that. Do you think either like the '86 or the '90s or even like the 2007 with Strahan would have put up with a player not putting in the effort that Banks allegedly did not put in? And I laugh because we always talk about the effort that Banks didn't put out, that he took a couple plays off, that he 100% dogged it on certain plays, but no one talks about the fact that in the same game, Bobby Okereke literally stopped running on a play that James was what I'm talking with. James and I, we talked about it. He literally stopped running on a play that was away from him. He was tracking on the middle of the field, and you saw him take the angle, but he just stopped running. And I was like, okay, Tay Banks is a second-year player, but he's terrible. But this is a guy we gave $14 million a year to, who, and there was more than one play that he's done this that I've watched. He just literally and I think I showed the video on the stream. He just stopped, and I'm like, well, why does one guy get all the shit?
Right.
And this guy who we brought in as a free agent in his second season literally gets a pass for not just listen, Banks slowed up. Not gonna defend what he did.
Right.
But Bobby Okereke stopped.
Tim, what about Ghost Brother number one?
I'm just gonna stay here and just wait a few minutes and see what happens.
James, what about Ghost Brother number one? Kayvon.
Oh, yeah.
He quits on. Kayvon has quit on plays multiple times.
Yeah. Kayvon don't even start. Quit. He don't even start. You're giving him too much credit. We ain't doing that today, brother. There's plays where the ball is hiked, and I swear to God, I swear to my grandmother, you could watch it. Watch him pre-snap. the ball hikes, he comes out, he does a little, I can't get there. He does that at least 45% of the time, man.
I mentioned to someone on the stream a couple days ago that Kayvon Thibodeau is. I used to have an old Toro lawnmower, with the pull string, and you sit there, you're pulling it, and you're pulling it, and you're pulling it, it's still not starting. That's Kayvon. And then when you finally get it to start, what happens is it runs for like a second, and then it just dies.
Punks out.
That's, and we have to potentially pick up his option for $16.1 million before the start of the season.
Oh my God!
I think we have to pick it up. I think we have to pick it up in May. So I mean,
look at that.
This will always sum up Kayvon Thibodeau to me. And I remember this play because he went for like 40 yards.
Dude, do you know at worst? Do you know what you're supposed to do in that play? I don't know if you played swing, but in high school, even if you weren't going to get to the ball carrier, you were going to murder the quarterback for even having the audacity to be out there. Like, oh, you're going to come out here? I'm going to bury you. You may score, but you may not play anymore in this game.
It's a free.
James, I got a good one for you, Tim. In reference to the picture you just put up, I remember Saquon Barkley's rookie year, and he tried the same shit. We was playing Carolina with Julius Peppers. And Julius Peppers just grabbed him in one hand and he just shook his head. He's like, come on, dog. Come on, dog. And Saquon was like, you got it.
You got it. I actually remember that. Number 9.
That's the difference, man.
You're supposed to, it's like, okay, I may not win the war, but this battle is mine. You were going to be hurt.
Right.
You're coming out here trying to block me.
End. I'm a defensive end. You're a quarterback.
Yeah, you should be laying on. It's like I said, it's a free legal shot at the quarterback.
Man,
he should have buried him in the ground 8 feet deep.
Yeah. Literally that shit.
But like that's a free. That as much as the crap they call today, that is literally a shot. As a defensive player, your eyes should be lighting up like, oh my God, is he out there? Is he in space blocking? Yes.
And I actually do remember this game. I actually do remember the 2023 game against Miami.
Right.
I do remember. Oh my God, I forgot about this. Yes, I remember this 2003 game in Miami, and I brought this up. Kayvon Thibodeau and Bobby O'Carroll on the same side of the field.
Yeah.
Literally watched the Dolphin running for a touchdown. Stood there like, wow, he's fast. I would run after him. He's a little too quick.
Unbelievable, man.
And he's supposed to be, again, he's a top 10 pick. Supposed to be a leader, somebody we can. Him and Burns.
He's a top 5 pick,
bro. He's all this, man.
Top 5 pick, not top 10, top 5.
He needs to shut his damn mouth and play some football. Shut up. Just he had this whole thing back and forth with Des Bryant, and that shit came across so fake to me. You're up this year for your 5th year option, so all of a sudden I'm a Giant, so they don't want me anymore.
Yep.
Man, just shut the F up and play, bro.
Social media is killing sports. Even Asante Samuel going back and forth with Deion. Did y'all see or hear about that?
Bad. That's bad.
And it's like that. Asante, as good as you are, and I love you because you dropped that interception and jumped too early. So I love you for life. I was going to
say we love Asante Samuel for a different reason.
But think about how crazy it is that we're in a world, and I know Tim got, but we're in a world where you're going to go at the greatest cornerback, arguably ever, and say, no, I was just as good as him.
But that's the
my numbers prove
you need as a player. That's that dog you need as a player. That's
you want that dog, but I also want after you retire to have some reflection and common sense, not to attack the greatest quarterback of all time.
Here's what Asante is not saying, right? He's like, I got the record. Look at my season from 2006 with the most interception. You know why Deion didn't have more interceptions within that period? Because they
didn't throw to him.
Ball. They wasn't throwing the ball to his side of the field.
They didn't throw to him. He was Revis.
They didn't throw to him, and Deion still has more career interceptions than Asante Samuels. He still has.
I have to get to this one because Cedric Jones is one of my favorite Giants. Cedric Jones, defensive tackle, taken in 5th overall, and I love it because this shows in '96 even the potential ineptitude of the Giants. You go through the process, you go through the physical, you go doing everything that you need to do your due diligence to draft a player the best positionally for your team. You go through all the hoops, and then you draft this kid, and then find out he's blind in one eye.
Aska, that's the running back.
To this day, I love that pick because I'm like, how did you not know he was blind? And you didn't ever just do this. You're like, cover one eye, now read the chart, now cover the other eye. I mean, is there no eye test?
That's I'm going to get you, sucker.
Playing in the XFL, or was that Aska? There was one guy running back that was legally blind in one eye that played in the XFL a couple of years.
Yeah, it was the XFL though. He wasn't taking 5th overall. But
that's literally.
I love Cedric Jones, man, because I just remember then, like at the end of training camp, going, "Well, he's blind in one eye."
Yeah.
Did you not notice his peg leg?
That's the I'm gonna get you, sucker, for all you babies out there. Especially now today with all the plastic surgery, when you date a girl, you take her home, or you're somewhere chilling, having some drinks, and then she takes off the wig, pops off the nails, takes off the leg, takes off the sports. It's like, oh my God.
She is literally Cedric Jones, but that will always be one of my favorite Giant draft choices. Outside of Kayvon Thibodeau, of course, but Cedric Jones took you a year to figure out he was blind in one eye.
Listen, at least we're not as bad as the Jets, man. Even though that story might top the Jets, something came across my my reels the other day, and it was showing like the Jets' worst draft picks ever. And I just decided to watch it.
So which
so whenever I feel bad about the Giants, I think about the Jets.
Well, you know what's even funny? That is not even the worst Giant draft pick ever.
Really?
And we've literally did a show about the worst Giant picks of all time. And there was a running back taken by the Giants. And this was in the 60s. He had racked up more in the first round. He racked up more fines than his entire salary during the first 2 weeks of training camp.
Wow.
And we turned around and we traded him. I believe it was to Baltimore before. I mean, it's like the second week in training camp. He gets now, you have not Don Shula. You get Tom Landry. I'm sorry, over in Baltimore. And he told the running back, "Hey, listen, I want you to go in and bring the play in, to Johnny Unitas." And this guy looked at him and said, "What do I look like, Western Union?" And he went back and sat down. That to me is the worst Giant draft pick ever.
So, out of curiosity, what were the fines for? Like, what were they fining?
Everything. Not literally. They said he had racked up more fines, in just reference to being belligerent, not being there for lights out, for that he had spent more money in fines the first 2 weeks of training camp in his entire. It was Joe Don, and I love it because I always love the name. His name was Joe Don Looney. And he was drafted in 1964 out of Oklahoma. He was almost he was a potential Heisman Trophy winner, but he got drafted out of Joe Don Looney. Look it up. I swear to God, had more fines than salary in the first 2 weeks of training camp. The Giants traded him.
Yeah.
He was taken in the first round. He was taken 12th overall. And like I said, he told Tom Landry, "I'm not running the plays in. I'm not Western Union."
See, that's where being braggadocious and that's where going too far is too far. That's a perfect example. That's not the Shador,
That was
that's
in the
crazy
60s, though. But guys, I really gotta get out of here. I'm real late, so I want to appreciate everyone that was able to come in today. I want to thank R0B. I want to thank OGR Sports. I want to thank the Dahmer. I want to thank Big Blue Light Forever and James Williams. This is Tim Stewart, Giants Richard, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Appreciate everyone. We're out of here. Peace.